I believe we are live now. It is 4 seconds in. It is 2:03. A little late to the
Just a
docket.
second late.
This is House Calls with Ryan Dunstan and with Chris Kamara. We are wanting to
Hello.
bring to you information about homeowners insurance and answer your questions. There's a lot of them that are out there. People are wanting to understand what's going on and what they can do to build their policy, to understand it, to get the price down, to get accurately covered. So we want to bring you as much topics and information as possible. What do we have first today, Chris?
I just wanted to double check very quickly. We're live on all of our platforms.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go over to this slide here, or this deck here. And I'm gonna let you drive today. I had a little bit of things that happened outside of the norm, and I'm not as prepared, and I know you are. So why don't you take it away, and I'll roll things around.
Okay. Well, just a brief high-level overview. We want to go over the FAIR plan. You know, they are not an insurance company. They are a syndicated fire insurance pool. They're comprised up of several admitted carriers. We've gone over non-admitted. We've gone over admitted carriers in the state. What that means, we can go over it with you anytime. But comprised of all their funds. So if something happens to them, it may take a little while for you to get paid out, but you will. They just need to get all that money from their admitted syndicates. So they've been around since the 70s, and they're here to help. For I think last week we were like kind of diving into a lot of their metrics, and there was the high fire, and then we just kept going down the hill and seeing how saturated they were in Auburn,
That was last week. Yeah, absolutely.
in Roseville, in San Francisco. I mean, pretty much the entire state, and they've got their metrics on their website that show what those metrics are at the moment, which is kind of nice. Clarify, we could definitely go over some of because they're a named peril policy. So there's open and named. Open means all perils, and then named
is. To get really technical on that, and I got asked this question actually this week by a client. They're a lawyer, so they wanted to know every single piece of the quote and the policy. And so I quoted them an HO3 policy. That's the paper or the form that the insurance policy is written on. An HO3 is a named peril policy. So it's covering the perils, things like water and fire. And then there's HO5 paper, which is open perils, right? That's the other thing you were talking about.
Correct.
And open perils are written on HO5 paper. So you can see it most of the time. It's in your policy number, or some of the carriers it's in your policy number. But HO3 is a named peril policy, whereas an HO5 is an open perils policy. The FAIR plan, like you just said, is a named perils policy, like it says on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
And I was going to say, I had a policy which we could almost even pull up, and I think we'll do in the session here is just kind of go over all those perils, because a lot of people are still surprised when you tell them that that's covered on the FAIR plan, and they just can't believe it.
So let's step back just really quick. So when we write, both you and I don't think you do it any different, but when we write the California FAIR plan, we always pair it with something called, and there's many names for it, but some people call it a wrap, some people call it a supplemental, some people call it a DIC. And the reason it's a DIC is because it's a typical homeowner's policy that's written with an exclusion or a difference in conditions to exclude the perils that are covered by the California FAIR plan.
Yeah.
So you tell me when to roll or to change.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go quickly through, I guess, some of those top perils that are on there.
Okay.
And, one of them is the fire, lightning, obviously the most concern. Fire, whether it's caused by wildfire, by house fire,
Mm-hmm.
or even by lightning strike. So
Yep.
fire is fire. They don't have a way at the moment to distinguish the two, but we've heard that there might be something on the horizon regarding that. So that's good news. The next one is internal explosion. So that's a gas leak. Anything that doesn't have the presence of fire there. So basically it's just something internally in your home that explodes.
So, like explosion, like I'm deciding I wanted to make a whole bunch of kombucha and it blows up and causes damage all over the place.
Yeah.
You're talking about stuff like that, or I mean, you could really go to like some crazy stuff like a meth lab or something like that, right? That would be, well, I guess a meth lab wouldn't because it's in legal operation, but let's
Right.
say you're a budding scientist and they're doing some science experiments not related to drugs or meth, and something blows up and causes damage to the property. That would be internal explosion, right?
Yeah. Or, come Thanksgiving, you've got the turkey that you're deep frying, and then the propane tank that you've got in your kitchen now also explodes too.
Yeah, yeah. And then smoke. You want to go over that?
Smoke would be anything from a fire. I know that there's a lot of people that are talking about how they're not fair plan wasn't covering smoke damage, and there's been a lot of changes around that, whether it be smoke from a wildfire or smoke from another fire somewhere else. So, but it has to be from a fire first, specifically, and whether it be a neighbor's wildfire blowing into your attic or a mechanical failure or something of that nature. So that would be that smoke.
Cool. Want me to roll down?
Yeah. Visual comparison. So these are what's not covered and why you would want to go to a wrap policy. So there are a lot of included perils that we kind of went over, and then there's things that are not covered would be a common exclusion. So water damage is not covered.
That right here.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge thing.
You want me to roll down more then?
Are those on there?
I don't know. This is your deck. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I guess some of these. So, well, some of those are. It looks like our graphic took out the whenever you add on, because you can add in the windstorm or hail.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that you want to make sure is added into your policy. Vandalism, theft, burglary. That's something that you can add in. Is the vandalism, the burglary, the malicious mischief. Thing that's not covered is earthquake, animal damage, power surges or electrical damage, and then tree just regular falling trees on its own accord.
So like a dead tree hanging over the house, not a tree that falls due to a windstorm.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there was a windstorm, you can get that covered in your endorsement, but not on its own accord. So that is that. I was wanting to, I guess I could share my screen and go over the coverages in detail. Was there more on the infographic that we'd gotten? Oh no, yeah. I guess we can. Right why you want to bridge the coverage together. You want to go over that?
Yeah, and to be clear, we don't write the fair plan unless there is a wraparound or DIC policy. It's just not properly covering the client. Do you have any clients that you write just the fair plan for?
Just the fair plan for?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then I've been asked this question. I know you've been asked it online. There's been people that want just the wrap and DIC policy, no fair plan. They'll take their chances.
Yeah.
Do you do that as well?
No. I do have one client that is very kind of, I guess, understands the fair plan, understands its purpose. He is willing to be more risky and wants to have it during a short term. So the other term, he just doesn't have fair plan at all. But It's really rare that happens because most
Mhm.
people own their homes and
Mhm.
aren't really too concerned if something were lost, or they've got second homes elsewhere. So it's always, I guess, every case by case basis, but it's pretty rare that I have a fair plan only and or a wrap policy only. So
And then for those with a mortgage, because that only would apply if you don't have a mortgage. For those
yeah,
with a mortgage, I've seen it the other way around. The mortgage company absolutely wants the fair plan, but they don't care about the wrap policy.
yeah, and that's primarily the lender's concern is their requirements are fire and wind. It used to be just wind only
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, and then now being our climate and the way we are in California, they've included fire as one of the named perils that need to be covered on the mortgage. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
this is what you want. This is what would give you the best protection available, right? Is
correct.
you want both together.
Yeah.
And then you got some action plan stuff here.
Yeah, so you want to definitely review your policy annually and or even quarterly. I feel like with the landscape that we're in at the moment, there's just a lot of changes that are going to be on our horizon with some Department of Insurance releasing a lot of data and helping carriers come back into the market. And us as independents, I mean, I think we definitely have a good pulse on kind of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk to people, so we kind of know whenever there's a new carrier that's trying to say I can cover you. Um, but that's the other, I think, why you want to maybe even do quarterly, because carriers get their rate approvals and they can implement them usually in the 90-day time frame or 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to check in if your carrier has now applied for a rate and gotten it approved, what if they're able to right back into the space again.
Right. So you want to shop.
Definitely want to shop.
It changes so fast. I mean, we have carriers entering and exiting all the time. I just pulled up the discounts available for your next part you're going to go over. I'll go back real quick.
Okay.
So mitigation credits. So this, honestly, there is some savings associated. You can get, I think it's like 20, correct me, I know I'm wrong here, but it's a significant amount of discounts if you can meet all the criteria to get the credits. That's now, but I believe that's going to be even bigger in the future when the carriers, not the fair plan, get more granular on what that looks like, right? So as an example, I have an admitted carrier that's going to write, and they're all required to offer some type of discount for mitigations, like all enclosed eaves or fire resistant A-rated roof, things like that. But the discount is a joke because even though they have it, it's like $1 a year discount because there's no teeth in it. And I believe that that's going to change as this becomes more of a focus, that the credits will be closer to what the California Fair Plan as far as discounts applied are. Do you feel the same, or have you seen it different?
I would say I see it being different. I think with the carriers starting to file for rate that they're gonna provide more credits now too.
That's the same thing. We're on the same
Yeah.
place. So
Yep.
they're currently offering very, very small credit for mitigation. And when they get rate, they're going to be offering more credit for those mitigation efforts.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then this is the discounts as is at the moment. So you've got level 1 and level 2, and we've gone over this in the past. Let me just move this over a little bit here.
Well, and yeah, a lot of this is going to be playing into the sustainable insurance strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the Department of Insurance is telling carriers that they need to start implementing into their policy form whenever they're asking for credits. So,
Yep.
yeah, this is
And
huge.
this document from the Fair Plan, this may be a little dated, but it was 23% off of the wildfire portion of their premium with the Fair Plan. So level 1 is this level 1 is the building itself, your home itself, and then level 2 is the immediate area around the home itself. Right. So I have a lot of clients that they'll meet this one, then they'll have an issue here. Or, well, actually, that's the only really big one I have. They meet everything but this here. 6 inches at the bottom of all exterior walls must be made of non-combustible material.
Yeah, mine's mainly the eaves. A lot of my clients don't have the eaves enclosed, and the cost to do that usually doesn't warrant. But I think we've talked about this before. Is having a contractor at least give you a bid or on how much that is, because it's not just year one. It's going to be year two and going forward, because a lot of these carriers that are going to get their rates increased and give you that credit, they're going to want to see this. So, but yeah, hard to tell what that amount is going to be, because there's no way of knowing what the carrier's actual discount is going to be.
And it may play into, like, this isn't something that's set in stone right now, but it may play into whether or not another carrier besides the Fair Plan will decide to write your property. If you've got these things, I'm believing that there'll be a higher likelihood when carriers re-enter the market that they're going to be more likely to write properties that have these mitigations than those that don't.
Yeah. If anything, I can see them asking for photos beforehand too, and before them sending out the inspection, because inspections right now are just all over the place. And then whenever the carriers come back into the market, these inspectors are just going to be bombarded. But I could see some self-inspection tools and people having to provide some sort of photos beforehand.
Well, there's some carriers that did that. I mean, about a year ago, I remember the carrier starting with the letter L. They required before you bound, or right after you bound, to do on your phone. You get an email, you click a link, and then you do a virtual walkthrough on your phone yourself, and they get to see everything that's going on, and that's their inspection. So I don't think that would be that difficult of a step for carriers to implement.
No, I think it's just going to go into the consumer and putting more on them and having them be more diligent about shopping for insurance.
And then this one here is the second discount available. This is protecting the immediate surroundings, right? So this one I see quite a bit. Even to some point, screening the decks. I've seen some requirements for that from carriers. This is the ember resistant zone for 5 feet. And then this one's always hard because I've seen a lot of homes with decks or storage sheds, et cetera, that are, right off the deck. And that's only 6-10 feet away instead of being 30 feet away.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask, have to come out and then move their shed that distance away too.
And then there's the third, which is Firewise Community. And then the fourth would be, what do they call that now? I just blanked.
The risk reduction community, which
and
we are in.
We
are in the time zone now.
For applying for new, right?
For applying for a new one. Yeah, I brought that up to someone the other day, and started July 1st, going till October 1st. You have the list of the actual clients or the communities. I think you do.
I'll pull it up. Yeah, but you're talking about this right here.
Yeah. So there's a really short window that communities have that they can apply for it. So
July through October.
Yep.
July 1st through October 1st. Oh, sorry, not even October. So July, August, September, 3 months, 90 days ish. I'm not going to do exact math. Where is that list?
Looks like 91 days because you have up until midnight of October.
Okay. Here's is this it right here? No, that's the resolution. Let me find the list. This is the map.
There's a list on the side.
There it is right there. That'll work. So for those that matter for us, and there's quite a bunch over here in the greater Sacramento-ish area. Ish again. Placer, El Dorado. There's a couple more I know. Let's see here. Placer, El Dorado counties, and then the town of Truckee,
Meeks Bay is Tahoe, North Tahoe Fire District, Truckee Fire Protection District. I wonder how far that Sacramento Municipal, number 12.
Number 12. It doesn't let me click it, so
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but there's significant places for this fourth discount.
Yep.
And that's all based off of the California Board of Forestry and Fire Protection. Cool. Let me close all this out. That's all the discounts. Close that out. That's the end of that deck. What do you want me to open now?
Well, I was going to share the policy coverage.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll turn mine off and yours on. And then you're going to want to blow that up. There we go.
That's pretty big.
That's perfect because it's harder to see on the screen, let me tell you now.
So this is the actual policy form from California Fair Plan with their transparency. As of late, you can access this from the website because a lot of people want to see what the policy actually covers, what it doesn't. And, you know, the biggest thing is going to be the dwelling. The dwelling is covered.
Yep.
And then it has what that actually means for the dwelling. Coverage B, other structures. So this is other units that you have on your property. And
okay, so now you got to clarify units.
Okay.
So units not like an ADU, an additional dwelling unit, right? This would cover units that do not have a cooking surface.
Correct.
So storage shed, a pool house, a gazebo. What am I missing? A garage.
Yeah. And this is where it says we do not cover these structures. So the commercial, professional, manufactured, farming purposes, rented or held or for rental of another person, not the tenant. That's about it. And then a lot of people, like, you can pull up to 10% of your dwelling coverage unit to go for this if there's a shortfall, but you know, just know that now you're messing with your dwelling coverage, so you don't want to do that. But yeah, the ADU thing that you were talking about earlier, like, that's huge. You have to get a separate policy for that if there's a cooking or if it's rented to someone else.
And to really clarify that, an ADU, we're talking about something with a separate roof line. So if you have, like, let's say a home and a converted garage and you call that an ADU, that could still possibly be covered under one policy for the California Fair Plan. But if you have a home standing by itself with its own roof line and you have a separate ADU with its own roof line, that would always require a separate policy for the Fair Plan to cover both, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Unless that ADU, which we'll use that broadly, does not have a cook surface. Well, even then, occupancy would matter, right?
Occupancy, yeah. If someone else is living in there, then you've got to have a separate policy.
Correct.
Personal property, your personal property is covered.
What is personal property? How would you define that?
Well, I would define it as anything that is usual to your location. So not your cars. I mean, it says here what is not covered. And that's why I kind of want to go over, like, what's not covered of what it says.
So what I tell people all the time in personal property is the best example I have is if you could take your home and take the roof off of it, pick it up, turn it over, and whatever falls out, that would be considered personal property.
Yep.
This is going to have a list of exclusions, but it's a better visual concept for people. So anything bolted to the walls, like built-in or something else, that would still be part of coverage A for the dwelling.
Correct.
Personal property would be all the books that are on the built-in, or a refrigerator that falls out, or a stove. That's all personal property.
Yeah. Yeah, I use that too, to flip over the house and everything that's on the ground. But you know, and it adds up quick. Everyone thinks, like, oh, what do you have? What do you have? And I'm like, well, I've got, a lot of different things that you do. So you can't use mine. I usually figure, $5,000 to $10,000 a room, depending on what kind of stuff you have in there. And you really need to go through with a quick, calculator and just kind of start adding things up. I mean, it does add up quick, and it's better to do it beforehand than after, and your house is burned down.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you want to calculate what that is, but even then, you want an inventory. The easiest thing, and I know we've said it on one of these prior podcasts, is take your phone out, go take a video of every single thing in your house. Just walk each room and slowly take a video of everything in each room. That way you have some way of actually recollecting what is in your home.
Right. So let's go over what's not covered and all that stuff that falls on the ground after you turn it upside down. Your coins, your deeds, your gold, your metals, your money, passports, personal records, like things like that that usually a lot of companies would have a sublimit for, like a small sublimit, say 1,500 or 2,000. That's just not covered with the fair plan. Your motor vehicles are not covered. Obviously, that's covered with your auto insurance, but they want to be pretty direct about what that is, and then they actually stipulate what a motor vehicle is. Your watercraft, your aircraft. What else? Your credit cards, your business property. It's pretty crazy. And a lot of people do ask about, is my boat, not my boat, or my jet skis, or I'm trying to think of what else people ask. I mean, mainly people ask about the.
I got one. E-bikes. Those things are not cheap, and I get asked that on a regular basis. Does this policy cover e-bikes?
So what does it say? I mean, it says usually it's anything that's for land. Well,
I don't know. No one's asked me in regards to the fair plan, so I don't know an answer to that question. But I do know for your admitted carriers, I've been asked about e-bikes a few times, because these e-bikes are, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000.
Yeah. I would almost say that they're not covered.
I think that's on B. It says right here.
Yeah.
It says any device or instrument for transmitting, recording, receiving, or reproduction of sound or pictures, which is operated by power. Oh no, that doesn't speak to that. That's just talking about the devices or instruments. So.
Well, it's motor vehicles or all other motorized land conveyances.
Yeah, but it's just talking about operated by power from those things. It's not saying those things. Oh, sorry. Number 4, no subset. Got it. Motor vehicles or all other motorized land conveyances. So e-bikes would not be covered under the California Fair Plan.
Yeah. Your bike would, though.
My motorcycle wouldn't. It's got a motor.
Motorcycle, but your regular bike, your bicycle.
Oh, bicycle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. And that's where, I mean.
So that's a whole, right? So what would we do for somebody that has an $8,000 e-bike and the California Fair Plan? They need a separate policy called Inland Marine, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Inland Marine, and usually you can get those through like a Progressive or geez, there's so many other carriers that are out there. It's insane. But check your policy. I mean, that's things you want to ask your agent is things like this covered.
Mm-hmm. Any high ticket item you have, you want to make sure it's either scheduled or you have a separate policy for it. Anything that, you would be worried about replacing out of pocket.
Yep. So business property is not covered. Natural artificial lawns aren't covered. A lot of people will spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on landscaping, and that's not going to be covered unless you check that, which you'd want to chat with your agent about whenever you are going to remodel your home for the outside. Fair rental value. This has definitely got a lot of talk in our groups.
Oh, 100%.
which also just complies with loss of use. But I think one of the biggest things, and that I've, tried to tell people, is how it says, or occupied by you, right here, held for rental or occupied by you, are unfit. We cover it as fair rental value. So loss of use, fair rental value, they are the same. You're not able to inhabit the home anymore, and now you need to make sure that that's covered.
So can we stop there real quick? I know we got a little bit of time today. So run me through a scenario where you're talking to a client and how you calculate fair rental value.
Man,
I got an example. If you don't want to do it, I can do it.
Yeah, please example it.
All right. So that same lawyer I talked to that wanted to know everything about the quote, we were going over fair rental value. This wasn't a fair plan quote. It was an admitted carrier, but the logic still applies. Is fair rental value is going to cover what it would cost for you to live in a like situation from your current home until your home is inhabitable. So like situation, you would have to rent a home of similar quality and size, right? And you'd have to probably furnish that home if you're renting it, if it wasn't furnished. So if you're paying, and I'm just going to go off of general numbers here, but if you're paying for a 2,500 square foot home, and the market to rent that home is what? Let's say
3,000.
3,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So 3,000, then you got to furnish it, right? So let's assume you got to pay another 300, so 3,300, and you want to have that coverage cover the worst case scenario, right? So you want it to be, hey, what if it takes 2 years to build my home, or 3 years, which is honestly not unheard of depending on the situation and location of that home, right? So you take 3,300. I'll do the math right here real quick. 3,300 times 36 months for that home, 2,500 square feet. You're looking for coverage D fair value of about $120,000. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I usually always do about 150,000. My in-laws lost their house up in a town near me, and it was just one house that caught fire. It wasn't a huge wildfire, and it took almost 2 years to rebuild. So, you got to figure, you got to demo the house, you got to clear the grade the land, you got to hire someone, you got to get permits.
Permits is the hardest and longest thing.
Yeah, there's weather now that takes into account. I mean, there's a lot of factors. I don't think, depending on location where you're at, that you could just rebuild a house in less than a year.
Yep.
I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you can. Maybe you're owner builder and you've got resources and are able to do it quickly. But the cost for that coverage is so minute compared to the other that you're better to be overinsured there for sure.
Yeah, insured to the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I don't really want to call it overinsured because, that may not be the truth when you actually need to use it. So,
well, yeah, because I mean, that's the other thing too, is you don't know when your house is going to burn down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're overinsured, say next year to year, and that's why you want to, tailor your coverage from year to year. But if you're overinsured at 150,000 or 200,000, and maybe it's not overinsured because maybe after your house burns down in the next 6 months, and costs have skyrocketed that you couldn't predict.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of variables that go into it.
Absolutely.
So, let me see. Where were we at? Other coverages. So debris removal, which you can never get. That's so hard to finding out what that cost actually is, I feel like.
We use a rule of thumb, so it's at least 10% is what we put down. Or was it 5%? At least 5%, sorry, for debris removal.
Improvements, alterations, or additions. Oh, that's for condos. Worldwide coverage. Worldwide. Did you know about that?
I did not. What is that?
So that's like your laptops, your personal property. It's all your coverage C. It's like an inland marine policy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if you have 150,000, or let's say 200,000 personal property, you have up to 20,000 coverage anywhere
For
you
that
go.
property anywhere.
But that still has your regular deductible that applies to it, right? So that's going to not make sense for a laptop. It's going to make sense for, I don't know, I can't think of a scenario where that would make sense.
Yeah, I guess laptop probably wouldn't be the best. I mean, that's what it's covering. I'm just trying to think, scenario of what that is.
I mean, even at the floor of where I'm writing deductibles at 2,500.
Like your stuff's in a storage unit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, say that you're you've got 50,000 or whatever, 25,000 in a storage unit. That's covered for fire.
Okay.
So you don't usually have to go out and buy that separate policy. Reasonable repairs. I think this is all just, what is this again? Oh, just the other coverages. Property removed, fire department service charge. That's kind of the throw-in stuff. Perils insured. Okay.
This is a good spot right here. You've
Yeah.
already gone over.
Kind of just going back to what we were chatting about for perils insured against.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the internal explosion.
Yep.
Like it doesn't mean the arcing of electric stuff. It does say breakage of water pipes.
That's excluded.
Yeah. And it also says pressure relief devices. So maybe my scenario of the turkey basting isn't accurate.
The regulator fails or something?
Yeah. Guess it depends on what you're putting it in.
Yeah.
The smoke damage. And this is kind of just been under so much scrutiny. I feel like.
Oh, there's been lawsuits associated with that.
Yeah. Because they want it to be from the actual home itself, not from a wildfire somewhere else.
Is that the gist of it?
Yeah. Yeah, from them saying that it was from limited from a smoke somewhere else. Yeah, because it was intended to be smoke from fireplaces, fire pits, for coverage, at your own house.
So I'm looking at an article from June 26, where the Southern California wildfire victims gain new rights in smoke claims. They're saying, I'm going to read this part. I'll not share it, but it says, a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge has delivered a groundbreaking decision for Southern California homeowners impacted by SoCal wildfires. Judge Stuart Rice ruled that the California Fair Plan Association's policy for handling smoke damage claims is illegal and violates state law, marking a pivotal victory for thousands of families who've struggled to receive fair compensation for smoke and ash damage after devastating wildfires like Eaton and Palisades fires. So to your point, it says here, smoke damage policy at the center of the lawsuit. Since 2017, the FAIR Plan required that fire claims result in direct physical loss, defined as permanent physical changes to a property. Smoke damage was only covered if it was visible to the naked eye or detectable by smell, not by lab testing. However, homeowners reported being told to clean up their own properties and were given lowball offers or outright denials, even when toxic ash, soot, or debris had infiltrated their homes and posed health risks. So that was the key point, was it's not just visible, it's whether or not there was an effect. Yeah, that's what I'm reading here. And that was a judgment. This article is from June of this year, so only a month old.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next perils are extended coverages, 4 through 9. So this is where you'll check your extended coverage levels.
And those boxes specifically where we're talking about VMM, extended coverages, and what's the third box?
Uh,
It's 3 boxes, right?
there's 3 boxes. Yes.
I'm blanking, but those 3 boxes total.
Oh, it's
the
just
whole
extended
policy.
coverages in VMM.
Yeah.
So
So just those two.
fire is always checked.
Fire is always checked. The other two optionals are extended coverage and VMM.
Yep.
And those two, from a total policy, the cost is what, $100, if not less.
I would say
than that?
200.
$200.
Yeah.
It's not a major factor in the premium.
Yep.
But the coverages you get for it, you should always do it. I don't write any policies without those coverages.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting windstorm, which is huge. You're getting explosion. You're getting riots already there. Aircraft's there. Vehicles.
That's excluded.
No, these are included.
Oh, wait. Go back down a little bit. It says explosion. No. Oh, you're right. So this covers, and the scenario that I got corrected on, this covers if somebody's driving and you're on a dead end street and they just keep driving and drive through your house.
Yeah.
The fair plan would cover that.
Yes. The fair plan covers that can't be your car. That's the
It
kicker.
says caused by a vehicle owned or operated by you. So if you screw up, it's not covered. But if it's a complete stranger running through your home, then it would be covered.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think a couple like elderly people, like they'll run into their house and then that's not covered. But that'll be covered on your auto insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they're trying to transfer the risk. If it's you, then it should be over to your auto insurance for
Correct.
Comprehensive. So, and then volcanic eruptions covered.
I think we're going to be okay there.
Okay. Well, you never know.
I know that we had the, 10th largest earthquake in Russia a day ago, and my family was on tsunami watch back home in Hawaii. We're very fortunate that there was minimal, if at all, damage. So
I heard the boat launch got quite a amount of water onto it.
Yeah, super lucky. Very, very fortunate. But I don't think we have an issue with volcanic eruption here in our area.
Yeah, I didn't actually see if there was any damage to California. Did you?
No, it thankfully turned into a big nothing burger. I don't think there was anything newsworthy in damage.
Which is awesome. Do you want to cover the next one?
Vandalism or malicious mischief, or we abbreviate to VMM, meaning willful and malicious damage to or destruction of the property. So this is pretty straightforward. If you've got somebody messing up your house, this will cover it under the California Fair Plan. I like the wording for B, by pilferage. I don't think I've said that word in a very, very long time.
Yeah, pilferage has been it's like an old 1800s.
Oh yeah. Theft, burglary, or larceny. That's not covered, but damage to the building. So if the burglars broke into your home and stole your gold bars, that would not be covered in the California Fair Plan. The damage caused breaking into the home would be covered. So if they ripped the door off or cut into one of your walls or something, that would be covered.
Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like just that analogy alone is just why insurance is just so imperative to kind of understand their wording and how they try and use any tactic necessary to be direct about what it is that they're covering.
That's why I like having very clear examples, whether they're made up or some real stories, which we have a few, but it helps people better understand their policy, right?
Yeah.
We're the weirdos that are going to read the policy language and help translate it to customers. Where unless which I found is attorneys and engineers, they will read this stuff and they'll grill you. Like that client I talked to, that's a lawyer, I talked to them for an hour going over every single thing, and they wanted to know. So took the time and educated them. But most people are never going to even get to page 7 of 18 in a document.
That's the truth, because they just see the price, they're like, oh, this one's 600, sure, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of the companies that offer the wrap coverages were making you sign something saying that it wasn't covering these perils.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because there's probably a lot of agents out there early on that were just selling the wrap policy. They're like, oh, there you go.
Oh, really? I'm shocked.
Oh yeah. I mean, probably because it was a price thing, because the price of those policies were less than $1,000, and that's what people were used to paying. General exclusion.
You think we'll ever go down to $1,000 policies again in wildfire areas? I think those days have gone. I don't think.
I mean, maybe in like 20 years. Yeah, we're gonna all have floating houses by then, though.
Okay. I'll visit in my flying car, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then there's no wildfire, because now you don't have anymore. Like, you can't have your landscaping. If a fire comes on, you just float your house away. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that with not me and you, but people have talked about flying cars and things like that 40 years ago, and we're still struggling with self-driving cars.
Right. I was just trying to see if we had anyone in the chat. We don't. What else has kind of come up? You want to keep going over the fair plan stuff?
We just published our newsletter. Let me open that and see what topics I went over.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll be signing out the client newsletters today. We sent out our referral partners, so this is for our referral partners.
I got the Cobalt last night. That was awesome.
That is rolling out. We've started the process of rebranding the agency, so that'll be coming in the next few weeks. One moment here. And I'm just going to share this screen.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. Turn that off and turn this on. So our agency is being rebranded, and that's the story in and of itself. I'm not going to put that here, but we're rebranding the Cobalt. You and I have gone over this, and it was a great piece of information that the Fair Plan is now sharing more data that they weren't sharing before, and you can see it on their website. And I like this one. It shows it the most. It's a 289% increase in exposure since 2021 through 2020, June of 2025. So pretty significant.
That's just scary to think about. But in back in 21, like buying a fair plan policy only took like a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, you could bind and quote issue in like literally 5 minutes. It was just
no documents, no other stuff to provide. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one here is since 2021, it's increased 315%. That's insane. For our agency, we're seeing in the lower wildfire areas approximate averages of homeowner policies around 1,800, where 2 years ago those were under 1,000. And then for moderate to high wildfire areas, not necessarily counting the fair plan, we're at 3,300. And then in the higher fire areas, I mean, we bound a policy that was $12,000 last week. So it all really depends on the home situation, right? Size, location, value, occupancy, whether there's prior claims, etc. And then this is a good one too that we get lots of conversations with people about is, and I know you know this, but I'm just going to state it anyway.
Yeah, please do.
There's two types of claim histories. So there's the property that's being purchased and that whether or not there's claims on it. And then some carriers, not all carriers, also use the person's prior homes they've owned if there's been any claims, because that shows a likelihood of future claims being filed. It's just simple math. The law of large numbers says that if you file one claim, you have a higher likelihood of filing a claim in the future.
And most of those are 2 years, right? 2 years, 3 years.
It all depends. I got one carrier I just found out goes back 7 years. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I
Wow.
don't know what the requirements are or how that's done, but that was just one of my carriers I was shocked to learn about.
Yeah, that's crazy. It was any claim, right? It wasn't just like claim over 2,000 or something of that nature.
Yeah, I didn't get that granular with it.
Yeah.
And then let me share this while we were talking. I Googled this. So this is from an article in 2022, but it shows, and this is where you were talking about quarterly reaching out to your agency if you're insured properly. I don't know if I'm on the same page quarterly, maybe twice a year, but the main point is you can see this fluctuation here. You can go from March of 2020, where lumber or framing prices were $400 per whatever measurement it is over here per thousand board feet. And then in 2021, it's $1,400. That's $1,000 swing in this. And then you go to September and we're back to $400. Then you go to May of 2022 and we're at $1,200. And this ends in July where it's $600. And I think it's settled then for this year. I think I was Googling it and it was about $500 per thousand board feet. So
Wow.
it's just such a variance, right? If you have a loss, if your home burns down, let's say here, it's going to be extremely more expensive than if your home burns down here.
Right.
Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can see my mouse. And this article says, since pandemic onset, and again, this only goes to 2022, lumber products have added 14,000 to the house price. I would say that number is very low, and this is probably a national article. I don't think it's specific to California. Yeah, National Association of Home Builders. Because I'll tell you right now, material costs in California are significantly more expensive than 14,000 per house.
Yeah, that average number is what's crazy, you know, because it's probably higher. It's going to be way higher, I feel like, for us. We're the reason why it's probably up that high.
Yeah, I didn't read the article, but that was what came up first on Google, and it conveys the point, right? Is there's fluctuation constantly in building costs, and I would assume labor costs also. I didn't Google that, but labor costs go up, right? So we're still quoting and writing stuff at, you know, the floor I think is $330 a square foot for rebuild costs for us, and I'm constantly seeing things at $380, $400 plus.
Yeah. If not more.
If not more, absolutely. I'm talking just on average.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna quickly, I don't know why it dawned on me, but I was gonna go into rate and see what carriers have filed for rate recently.
Why don't you explain what that is? I don't think we've gone over that.
Really?
Mm-mm. Go ahead, share that screen.
Okay.
Just show us from the beginning where you go.
Oh, from the very beginning. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
We got 4 minutes left. I mean, you just give us an overview. This is public information, and just show people how to get in there and look it up themselves if they want.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to share your screen first.
So yeah, I went out to good old Google.
Blow that up for me if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to go straight to the beginning, straight to home for you.
Cool. Cool.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So you're at the Department of Insurance, insurance.ca.gov, going up into this top right-hand corner and just show rate. And then it gives you the search history. Now this is going into the Department of Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go into rate filing lists, and
so the third one.
The third one, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, it was the second one, I think. I don't know why it's not updating, but then are you still following me?
We're not seeing it. We just see the Google search results. So you're probably sharing just one tab instead of the whole window.
Share this tab instead. Sorry.
Got it.
So yeah, then it takes you to this screen that says public notices of rate filings.
Mm-hmm.
Click on that, and then
these are filings, not approved rates, right?
Correct. Yeah, and then it takes you an Excel format of all of the public notices. So you can go back years and
Yeah.
see all the
Why don't you
filings.
show us August 1st? What's
Yeah.
been filed for August 1st?
So it comes out every Friday too. So that's good.
So share that
know.
Excel when you get a chance, because we only see that screen you showed us first.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta go to another screen. How do I share? Share, replace screen sharing with window. Here it is. Share. Sorry.
Cool.
So this just talks about the notice that insurance companies have to file to the Department of Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bottom, it shows a little rate rule. And then it takes you to every single company. Let me make this bigger so that way you can
Yep.
see it.
So every single admitted insurance carrier in California must file a rate and get it approved by the California Department of Insurance. If you look on the bottom right-hand side of that, you should be able to see the zoom button. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's right. You're a Excel guy. Sorry.
So, but let me restate that. So every admitted California insurance carrier, and there's many different lines, not just property and casualty, but every single one must file for a rate increase or decrease. They don't get to control that either. So if they're offering discounts, they have to be approved by the California Department of Insurance before they can actually roll those rates out.
Yep.
And that time frame we've seen is 6 to 18 months for that kind of thing to happen? Or is 6
for
to
it to be implemented,
short?
yeah, for it to be implemented and them to actually put it into effect. So I just go over here where it says the overall rate. Can you see this?
Yeah, let's stop at that 34.41 and we'll just zoom in there. So
Yeah.
Axis Insurance Company is filing commercial lines and auto liability physical damage. So this is commercial autos. And what is their rental package program? I don't know enough there to speak intelligently on it.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm just going to assume it's whenever you go out and rent a car, you maybe your loss of use or whatever your
Sure. Let's go down a
having
little bit and find something that we know
yeah
that's got a rate in it.
00012. This is commercial again.
Palomar. Oh yeah, no, Palomar's a great example. Go to Palomar.
It's commercial
So-
again though.
I know, but as an example, so Palomar, talking about earthquake, right? So earthquake for the first time ever. I don't know if we've had this discussion before, me or you, but for the first time, who's the big government earthquake one?
Earthquake?
Yeah.
FEMA?
Huh?
Is FEMA or what do you?
No. Who's earthquake through California? The
California Earthquake Authority.
CEQUA, right?
Yeah.
They filed for rate for the first time in I don't remember how many years. Did you know that?
No.
Hold on, I'm going to Google that real quick. I'm certain this is right, but CEA files for rate increase.
That's crazy.
So this is 20. So I'm on the California Earthquake Authority's website, and it says 2025 rate and policy changes.
You want to share it?
Yeah. Let me turn this on. I'm going to turn yours off and turn this on. But this is directly from the California Earthquake Authority for this year. And they filed a rate increase 6.8%, man. First time I've seen it, I've heard in years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you heard of any large earthquake claims whatsoever in California in the past few years?
No.
So
no.
Something's interesting, right? I don't want to say fishy, but something is interesting that they're filing for a rate increase now. And I don't know what the answer to it is, but I do know that this is something that's not typical. We don't see this. I don't remember the last time the CEA filed earthquake.
The only thing I can think of hypothetically is because it's now tied to all the fair plan policies. So if the growth of fair plan policies have increased, like you mentioned, that's 280 something percent.
So it's been 3 years in the last earthquake. This is according to AM Best, but 3.8% increase 3 years ago.
So it's because Fair Plan uses CEA. They attach a Fair Plan, or a quote to every single one of their policies.
Yeah.
So
I think every
before
carrier
you go
does. They're
to State
required by law.
Farm or somewhere else, and then they're getting a separate policy from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that they're being utilized more than they want, and now they're accounting for rate. That's just my thought.
Yeah, I haven't dug into it. It was just somebody brought it up, and I don't remember who, but that was a new rate this year.
Well, that's where, us as independents, we're just out there looking for rate increases. Who's making changes, who's making differences, who's trying to come back into the market, because there's notices all the time, and that's, I think, another tool of why you use an independent agent. Like State Farm's not going to know about that. Farmers isn't going to know about that. I hate to throw them under the bus, but at least that's just what I think.
Well, you check the rate filings regularly. I know you do because you talk about it when we talk. So what we're looking for is signs that things are getting better, right?
Yep.
And that is the canary in the coal mine. That's the first indication we're going to see of things getting better, in my opinion, is when rate filings increases slow down, then I think that's more of an indicator that the carriers are finding equilibrium, right, between what they're paying out and what their rates are.
Right.
So it's a good indicator. Cool.
This has been a great topic.
Oh, that hour went by really, really fast.
Yeah, we went a little over. We also started a little late too, so didn't get any questions, comments, or concerns, so that's good. But we're just going to continue putting it out, and hopefully we'll reach you one day.
Cool. I'm going to end the stream.